Welcome back, all you lovely people. I hope you had a nice quick break there. And hey, I guess we're ready. Let's just dive on in Immanuel Kant here. So we can just begin actually right with the opening passage, the opening sentence of the reading. If you just jump on over there to, I think it's page 9. Yeah, right up at the top there on page 9, right at the beginning. Kant says, "It is impossible to think of anything at all in the world, or indeed even beyond it, that could be taken to be good without limitation, except a good will." So already Kant has told us a few things that are very important. I mean, one, he thinks that he's indicating that all that matters, unconditionally, all that matters without limitation is one thing, and that's what he calls the good will. Again, for him, that's all morality is going to be about, the good will. And so, of course, we're like, well, what the hell's that? And to actually answer that, I think we have to kind of break it down into a couple questions. One is just what is meant by a will. That's going to be very important. What is this will? And then the second one, so this video, I'll just talk about what does he mean by the will. And then as we go through this rest of this module, we'll start to see what he thinks, what makes a will good, what makes the good will actually a good thing. It's going to be a long, complicated affair, as you might have guessed. But let's start with just what he means by the will. Now, we'll see a little bit more of this actually in the next module, but I'll give you a little preview because I think it'll be very helpful to have it right away from the beginning, is that Kant, doesn't tell us right away what he means by the will, but we'll see this in the next module, that his idea of the will is that it's our capacity to choose. The will is the foundation for our ability to choose to do something. To act. And he thinks, to have a will is to be able to choose, to be able to decide, to be able to act, with intention. We choose and we act. And so when we will something, we are choosing to do it. Because obviously this is ethics. We're focusing willing actions, or things that, lead to actions, that you do something. That's the ethics. And so, for instance, you're doing something right now. You're watching me explain all this to you. So you're watching this video, unless, of course, you've zoomed on ahead to the next quiz question. Bye. See you there. But for those who are sticking around, you have chosen to continue watching me. Maybe just twice as fast. I don't know. Your pick. But again, you have willed this. You have chosen this. You have willed this. You are willing to watch this video. Yeah, I like that idea. You are willing to watch me talk to you right now. Thank you. And yeah, maybe that's because you have a desire or you have an inclination of some kind to watch me right now. That's fine. But for Kant, that's not the important part. Your willingness to watch me right now, your willingness to choose to watch this, for Kant is really reflecting, again, your ability to choose. And according to Kant, your ability to choose rests on your capacity to act according to principles. Because Kant is going to say your willingness, you right now, still watching me, I hope, your willingness to do that is absolutely based upon some principle. And you might ask, well, what principle could that, why am I here, right? Why are we doing this? What's the principle? And indeed, that's exactly it. You ask yourself why you're doing the thing. That's how we can come to understand the principle that is you're basing your choice upon. And so some possible principles you yourself might have was like, maybe why are you watching this? Why am I here? I always ask myself that. Why am I recording this if no one's watching? I hope you're watching. But you can ask, why are you watching this? Maybe it's because you want to learn about Kant, or maybe you want a good grade in the course, or maybe you've been kidnapped and the kidnappers are forcing you to watch this weird lecture. And I hope they let you go soon. Sorry, I wasn't me. Anyway, but in each of these cases, or whatever reason it is, that's showing how you're acting according to some principle, because we can state the principle. So the principle could be, I want to know about Kant, so I'm watching this video. Or your principle could be, I want to get a good grade in this course, so I am watching this video. Or your principle could be, I want to make those kidnappers happy, so I'm watching this video. Sorry. But again, all those are principles. Again, why are you doing it? And that's the principle. I'm doing it because of whatever the reason is. And that is what Kant thinks is choice and what it means to will. And so he generalizes this idea of acting on principle, or choosing, what principle you act upon. He generalizes this idea in a footnote, and this footnote's on page 16. So if we jump to page 16, it's right there at the bottom there. He gives us this idea of a maxim, and he says it's not just a magazine. Is it still a magazine? I don't even know. No, that's not the kind of maxim Kant's talking about. Kant is talking about a subjective principle of willing. Now, what the heck does that mean? Well, according to Kant, whenever you are acting with intention, that is, whenever you're choosing to do something, acting with intention, you're doing it and you know why you're doing it, you're acting according to your will. And so you are acting according to a principle. And that principle we call a maxim, he says. And according to Kant, a maxim is a combination of an action that you are choosing to do along with the purpose, the goal, the end for doing that action. So as you can see here, I'm calling the action A and the purpose P. And here we can just say that A and P are the material that goes into a maxim. Okay, so that's the material of a maxim. And now we can think, well, what does the form of a maxim? Because these two things have to come together in some way, right? And so here, let's throw that up. We can see the form of a maxim is do A for the sake of P, or maybe you can think of it as that A is a means for, the end or the goal of P. And so again, let's bring it back to the video. So you are watching this video right now. And so A is the action, watch the video. And we've seen some possible principles or some possible maxims that you could be acting on right now that are guiding, the principle you're acting upon, the maxim you're acting upon. It could be, do watch this video for the sake of learning about Kant. Or it could be, do watch this video for the sake of getting a good grade in this course. Or it could be, do watch this video for the sake of keeping your kidnappers happy. Sorry, again, that's really bad. I'm sorry that they're making you do this. They're really weird. But you might note that Kant, I did say when I first read this, Kant said that this is a subjective principle of willing. And yeah, it is subjective because the maxim you are acting on is your maxim, because the maxim is revealing what it is you think you're doing and what your reasons are for doing it, your intention, or why you made the choice. That's because it's about you. And again, different people can have different maxims. So even the same people could, people could be doing the same thing, watching this video, but having very different maxims, different principles, because they're doing it for very different reasons. And so, yeah, that's what why Kant is saying it's subjective, because it's explaining your action. It's not explaining every action. We'll come to that idea in the next module, but not this time. This time it's just the maxim. It's why you're doing what you're doing. It's why you're willing to do what you're willing to do. And that's very particular to what you're doing and the reason for it, as we've seen now, I hope. And now, by the way, we can already start to see a divergence here from teleology, because recall, teleology, we haven't talked about teleology in a little bit, is that teleology, remember, says that the only thing that has intrinsic moral value is the goodness of outcomes. And so, yeah, teleology only cares about consequences and impact. But in looking at these maxims that Kant is doing, this is not theology. Why? Because Kant clearly cares about your intent. Why are you watching this video? The outcome or the consequence, I guess, is that you're watching this video right now, but the intent about why you're doing it, Kant is going to think is really important. It's not, in fact, if anything, this is going to be super important, because the maxim is revealing your intent behind what you're doing. Again, the maxim you have for watching this video reveals your intent. And yeah, that's subjective. Different people will have different maxims. And so, okay, now we should have a sense about what Kant means by the will he's talking about. The will is your capacity to choose and act with intent. And so again, your will is about your capacity to have a purpose, to have a goal. That's what the maxim gives, a purpose and a goal. And then you're acting in order to reach them. And so, yeah, Kant says the will is fundamentally about your capacity to act according to maxims, as I've just described. And just FYI, the clever student has probably already noticed that Kant might be thinking about something we've seen already. Again, our capacity to have plans and lead structured lives. Oh, we keep coming back. Tell you, if there's like one thing in ethics that just it's like a bad penny. It keeps turning up. That's a stupid saying. I like it though. Yeah, this is this idea, making plans, leading a structured life, because that seems to be like a maxim is about that. What's the plan here? What are we doing? Why am I doing it? What's the point? And very important idea to Kant, which we'll come back to in the next module for sure. Because in the next module is when he really will dig deep into this capacity for choice. But we'll get there. For now, I think it's just safe to say, I just wanted you to understand the will. It's a capacity to act according to maxims. And then, of course, then the next question is, well, what does Kant mean by the good will? What makes the will good? Because it's what makes the capacity to act on maxims good as opposed to bad. we'll want to know that. And that's going to be a bit of a journey now. But so let's take another break really quick here. Stretch our legs, relax your eyes a bit. I know we're in for a little bit of a journey. So yeah, let's take a break and then we'll continue on starting to see a little bit more about what Kant might mean by a good will.